What's up, guys? Just gonna go over these quick things. Pre-market setup, what happened during our sell-off, what caused the bounce, and then we're gonna do the gamma rewind, and every time we're gonna do what happened in the video and hood calls and all that. So let's go ahead and start the pre-market. We do this right before market open. Pull up this chart, and it went bye-bye. Second to load. All right, here we go. So we had, go ahead and get rid of that. Overnight session, we had kind of a drop to a gap and then kind of a drive up. Europe kind of bought it up a little bit. So pre-market, we're looking at, definitely after sell-offs like yesterday, you want to watch, which way we're going to rotate. Market's just full of rotations. Are we going to find value lower? Are we going to find value higher? So I was marking this up, kind of had like a bear flag kind of going. I said if we want to break above this excess in pre-market high, we could possibly hit mid and then go test that single print. If they wanted to, out of this consolidation, they could have consolidated more, or we had weak lows, which is just a double bottom on the TPO. It's not a finished auction. This is a finished auction. This is not finished. Excuse, three plus boxes by itself. We had that to go clean up. Below that, I was kind of watching for possibly that 6400 to monthly VWAP bounce. Once that didn't happen, previous week low, and then I really didn't chart up anything lower because I didn't really think after a strong move like yesterday we would have a sideways overnight and then another strong move. One thing about if initial balances are big, you don't really look for continuation. Yesterday sell off, initial balance small, sell off. When you have a bigger size initial balance, this one's pretty decent and kind of moved up. We don't really have that overall continuation. So I was expecting chop. Chop to happen if that initial balance was held, which didn't really break down from it. So let's just go ahead and look at ES. So ES, this uptrend I was kind of watching, we broke that. At open, we're hitting estimated move. If we hit them, I'm not guaranteeing a bounce. What I like to see is your risk reward to short down here to continue isn't as great as your risk reward shorten up here. So, I mean, technically, yeah, you can go long because you have good, at least if we get back to last week's open, your risk reward is really good. Overall, this, I did it from RTH only. Now let's chart. Well, let's just go to, so I took it from this Friday, August 1st to the high on August 13th, and I kind of move it over and eyeball it. So our August run-up was retraced. Can we go like that? This is button you push. Yeah. So run-up of 11 days was sold off in 2 days, which is pretty crazy. That's why a lot of people like to short the market because, you made money, half that take 4 days to drop all the way down here. But that 0.505 also marking up, if we had this consolidation box, what I usually do this with fibs, but I don't think I have exhaustion. You'll see that a lot when we have this obvious consolidation. We'll move up 3 times. So we had that at the low. Sell off, I kind of just watched. I didn't really partake. I think the 5-minute orb did very well. Let's kind of look at lower time frame, because I want to talk about the sell off first, and then I always like to do it with fresh charts. We kind of just had that, marked it up on the TPO. We had the uptrend. Five-minute, we opened right here. We kind of did a rally up, kind of created Europe highs, took out Europe highs, and then just dropped. And yes, we broke through a couple excesses. If we filled the gap, it was strong. If you're in, but like it's one of those, like, I'm afraid to short because I feel like it's gonna bounce. So that's why I prefer the longs. So we had the long called SPY out at pretty much, I'm pretty sure, the bottom. $11.07. So right around here. Looking, we kind of had a beautiful hold. Estimated move, we got down to that 0.5. I believe there's a gap right below this, over 3 times the consolidation, and called it there. Helped out with gamma, which I have a picture. It's better to show the picture than to the picture. Yeah, better show the picture, because when I replay, when I look at the charts end of day, like the very last bubbles are just so huge you can't really tell. But here's our delta. Deltas were definitely very bearish. It was sell the pop, sell the pop, sell the pop, until I saw a little smidgen at 63.35 come in positive. And that's where I was like, okay, we're starting to get positive delta. Same time, positive gamma, positive. These all came in positive. And the big thing that also helped me was this wall we had. I think they're still there. Oh, they off? Yeah, they went off. It was like 6. Each line was 100, so I think it was 6 100 lot orders just sitting down here. So all those combined, I was like, SPY calls. I went one day out because I felt like if we had to make a lower low, those 0 days would have been destroyed. But then XPX cons went like 10,000% if you got a certain one. Overall didn't help. Something I like to tell people is when we have a strong move up like this, I think that's when I got out. But what I should have really did was put up my fibs. I always do this, and if we retrace past that 707, I don't like getting out. Also, I do like to put anchor VWAPs. I've been trying to do better practice. From the low, we kind of broke below. But the main thing was I was rooting for it in VC. I was like, the 15-minute candle has to finish green. I tell people all the times, reversals happen on the 15-minute, happen on the 30-minute. Don't look for these lower time frame reversals. They're going to happen on the 15-minute. You can see the 15-minute, nice kind of doji-ish candle. And then this 15-minute, super bullish candle. We go look at the 30-minute of that one. Huge, not engulfing because it didn't open before previous close. It wasn't body over body, but very strong. So that even made me like that play even just a little bit more. If we go to kind of look at where we bottomed here, we didn't really get a slow a day. We didn't get a super crazy delta flip. We just didn't really. See, here's your true sellers. All this negative, 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 negative. Those are your true sellers. Here we kind of just like back and forth. Buyers didn't want to take it yet. Buyers didn't want to take it. Here's the first sign buyers kind of wanted to take it. Sellers, these aren't huge selling. These aren't huge buying deltas each candle. And then back to back right here. So this is the second time it looked like buyers wanted to take it. And they took it. This is the 20 range all the way up. I mean, if I was on futures, if I traded futures on this, there's no 15 or 20 range candle that turned red until here. So I would have probably got out there. And that would have been a great move from like 68 to almost 97. 30 points. Those are the reverse I like to see when these 20 range candles continue up. And then these boxes are created on my 15-minute. So I watch 15-minute on my main charts right here. Make it bigger. And you'll see those kind of boxes, and they don't make sense on that chart, but they coincide. I mark up the stacked imbalances. So the stacked imbalance, and you have a zero print. So that's what I'm watching here. I was like, if we come down, we have to hold for support. We come down, I'd like to, kind of have it hold the support. It kind of did. This one was very interesting. 730 to 0. That's our iceberg, probably. Icebergs, they usually, they'll keep bouncing, and then a wick buy, and I usually see them reverse. So that was like 2 o'clock. Oh, that was FOMC, which we got to talk about. I forgot about that. So that was interesting. Do we have that in our other chart? I don't know why these arrows. Oh, these arrows are on the other chart. Yeah, 170. It was very interesting there. So that would have been a delta flip. Then, so we're going to talk about I just minus that down. That play setup. So we had that strong move down. It's all right here. Initial balance set on a hold. We hit that value area high. I think I said in VC we could possibly head back down the value area low and kind of just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But usually when we have that recovery, you'll see chop, and then you'll see like a late stop run, and then continuation up. That will happen a ton of times. And when I say when there's 3 stops taken out, usually what I've been taught, not sure if it's 100% true nowadays, futures traders put their stops at the bottom of the 30-minute candles. So if they got long here, they're going to put their stop here. So with one candle taking out 1, 2, 3, almost 4, and then reversing it was a pretty decent play. I love that setup. You'll see them. Let's see if I can find another one. You'll see them pretty often. Not pretty often, but like that afternoon boringness, and then we have this one took out 2, so J period took out 1, 2. Kind of like that afternoon. Right, here's another one. Kind of end of day, just chopping, and then M period strikes down, takes out L period low, J period low, I period low, and H period low. So it took out 4. So I was like on your little late afternoon stop run. They want to see if if they're going to get stops, or they're going to get more buyers coming in. There's M period going the other way. I'll find one more. 1, 2, 3, I period. So it got boring, chopping. These are each letter's a 30-minute. So it's an hour and a half, just small range. I period struck down, pushed up. So that's one setup I like to watch. I need to get this TPO chart up on stream. I'd like to I wish I could do a lot more on stream. Let's do our gamma and delta rewind. So we had, I've been kind of just trying to figure something out. So we had something there in that sell-off. Like, for me, it's kind of like deer in the headlights. That's why I don't prefer to sell, short. I try to find the bounces, even if they're small bounces. That's what I prefer. Yeah, I'm probably missed some good money not shorting the past couple days, but it's just not my high probable, good setups. But off the bat was 6,400. I'm gonna pull up SPX somewhere. So much stuff open. I need one more monitor. All right, let's work on this. So SPX, I had off the open. The opening was 6,400, which I don't like when we open right there. But 945, just looking pure at data. That's one of the things, like using this, you got to go robot mode. Just look at data, make the plays off data, and you're going to be right more than wrong. You're going to be rewarded very well. So 945. I think I tried to get into 45. $945. We were below 6,400. We're heading to 6,375. It changed that much within a couple of minutes. Yeah, so that should have been 6,375. So 945 is 6,375. That's strange. I can't move that 10. Let me just get rid of the gamma float. 6,375 was the 945, which I think we pretty much hit it. 945, we were about 6,396. So 20 points. Could have been pretty decent for a 945. Now I'm curious how I got. I think it might have been like right after open. Oh, once we broke below that. Once we broke below 75, it went to 50. There's 50. So here's us breaking 75, then 50. 1030 gamma was 6350, and then if that broke, it'd be 6320. So put 6350 as our 1030. I thought it seemed to not pivot that much. 1030, like even on the 1 minute, it did. We got it. But 1 minute straight down. This one, could tell it kind of battled back and forth, broke below. So 1030 became our pivot. Noon was still 6350, but we already hit it, so that didn't really, I don't really look at that much. Even though noon we did, we were heading back down. So that I really don't play the noon as much. So I might start watching the noon to see if it takes off or not. Let's look at Delta. Delta's at noon. It was short. That didn't help. And then looking at our net drift for the day, never crossed, but right here, puts and calls were getting closer. We started getting closer about 11:30. Almost crossed 11:34. So he almost had a cross at the high. Almost crossed again at 12:28. And Brad in Discord has been like tracking these crosses. But you can tell overall, just look at the green line. Green line's going up. Red line's kind of steady. So you can tell people were getting in the green. Right here is the net volume of contracts. So net volume, their premiums, where of course people are buying more expensive puts than calls. But we only got the cross 309. There. Even at 309, with the cross would have been a decent 10 plus points. Go with what's we're looking at. Gamma. And then always the 6400, 6500, I always use those levels. So I could tell, check at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock where 6375 was the highest, but we're gaining higher. 2, same, 230, 6390, 3 o'clock, 6390. 325, it was 6405. So once we got closer at 6400 to 6305, high day on SPX was, or after the rally, was 6405.09. So that kind of did very well. So just basing it off of that, basing it off of data, if you got to put here, you made money. We saw here at 10:30, if I would have been on it right here, 10:30, basically bouncing off of it, I would have started looking at, is this going to be a pivot? At 10:30, is it going to bounce off of it? Oh wait, it's going to break below. But with all the other stuff that was going on, I was looking for that reversal. I was looking for that exhaustion, and that's where we saw. 10:30 gamma is going to be the pivot for the day. So calls at 10:30. Let's go back to 10:30. Basically looking for a possible 6400, which would have been like the gamma flip. Would have been SPX 6400 call at what time did we say? Looking for the pivot at 11. This is kind of picking and choosing though. So at 11 they were about 0.77 and they went up to 3.86. So just that little simple reversal did well. They hit a high of 6.67 and 0.7. So that's actually really good. Let's just look at our SPY chart. Kind of like using these same levels as I've used before. NQ almost hit 2x estimated move. NQ's been definitely weaker, but it's right back at the monthly open. Monthly ends, I think, next week. Yeah, next Friday. What happened in NVIDIA? Let's go over that. What happened with NVIDIA? NVIDIA just couldn't break out. I was saying today, like the sign of this sell-off was in semis, how weak semis were. NVIDIA was actually the stronger of the bunch. So with NVIDIA, I was looking for like the false breakout to a continuation up. But the problem was AMD was just not having it. Just look at AMD compared to the NVIDIA. AMD's been selling off, NVIDIA's been holding. So AMD started the sell-off first. Semis have been weaker than normal. Usually like one red day, we turn a couple green ones. Looking for SMH. SMH kind of been selling too. So NVIDIA kind of stayed up. So that's what happened with NVIDIA. I was expecting to push, but I guess we might sell off into its earnings. I think its earnings are next week, Wednesday. So that's going to be a fun one. Hood, with Hood, that one down day destroyed these contracts. If I would have averaged down that day instead of the following day, they would have been a ton better. But Hood just looked good. Resistance turned support. Got in right here. 11 points. Maybe 120 was just a little too far out. Maybe we should have looked for like 118, 116 calls. That would have been better. They would have gotten the money. But we had this down day right here. Just killed those contracts. Let me actually pull up that contract price. I wanted a 2.0 sell, put 120s for the 22nd. Good. I think it was just one of those little too far out of the money. Trying to go with a cheap contract, that kind of hurts me a little bit. We had let me get these. Let me look what I got them. Try to Hood. The 15th at 3:30. So we got them at Friday. So I was trying to wait for Friday. 15th at 3:30. Really wish I would have gotten them down here at 1. Got them for 1.5. The next day, the 18th, that sell off, if I would have averaged them down at 0.6, to 1.91, that would have been good. No, this is always a good thing to do. Like, let's go to the 115 calls. Let's see if the 115 calls, like, what's going out of the money, the problem. So 15th, 3.31. They almost got back to break even this day. A 1.5 average down would have been good. I should have saw that, but it was down over 50% and should have went with the average down. And they hit 4.3. But like, even selling here would have been horrible. So that's what happened on Hood. Let's just go through some tickers and see what we're doing. A lot of things hit estimated moves quick, but the main thing with estimated moves is when we have a push up in VIX. VIX was up over 10% today. Right? When we push up in VIX, makes that estimated moves kind of want to be broken. And from low to high was 10%. With VIX, that yearly low, the yearly low should have triggered by farther outputs. It's another thing I got, like, just keep writing notes somewhere that, far outputs when VIX hits the early lows, those kind of things. Apple. I like to go on the 4-hour. Apple breakdown of 220. So kind of watching that 220 level again if it does come up. Kind of like that. Or this previous level right here, 215. 215 might be a good long. So right now we're kind of messing with RSA move and then kind of the 225 level. AMD just kind of broke everything. Decent reversal. I would love it to take out that wick. I loved it. Didn't. Usually AMD respects estimated moves. Amazon, if we got down at 218, would have been another nice move. This is kind of in limbo. Kind of really not showing anything. Google, it's kind of the same with Google. I haven't been liking Google. Meta, hitting that 0.618 from its low here to its high here. So golden zone bounce. Pretty decent today. Microsoft, they're selling puts, but this thing is still haven't done anything. Got back to, where do you do the fib from this? That was a run up. Like, are we really gonna sell off this run up? That puts 424, 450. It's crazy. Monthly huge gap up. I get a gap up that big on a month. Oh, earnings last day of the month. Microsoft, I'm not messing with that. Because once that reverses, dip buyers are going to be in it crazy. NVIDIA, I already showed that. I'm going to kind of take a time off out of semis. Tesla, estimated move, pretty decent move, 315. So I kind of want to see that break above 342 to get to 360. That's my main play in Tesla. ETHA was up 5%. Entries right at 25, still holding these. MSOS bounced right off for our entry. Kind of watching, if I want to do a semi, I'd do SMCI. Bouncing from this might not be that bad, but I just don't think it has the volume in far out contracts. SoFi still holding these from like 8.5, 4.4. TSL, anytime it gets to 11 or 10, I am buying this. AVGO, I haven't been really watching it. INTC, I should have shorted it. The stock always comes back down. Oklo, I'm watching Oklo. I want to grab shares of this uranium. It did break down that head and shoulders though. Kind of had like a weird head and shoulders. That breakdown retest. Man, that would have been a killer play. But that's why I like doing these classes, because this is, trying to get back to my charting days. I used to just flip through PDD. Still waiting on this 120 break. PLTR, this was, man, they hit the flow on this like crazy. Basically underneath 150, they just started hitting it. Did it retrace like a certain fib? Monthly, 24-hour, and the only fib I'd watch is this. Didn't retrace it. They just bought it big time. Don't really see any other like level or anything. Roblox, kind of keep an eye on Roblox. I charted this up the other day. It had a big flow. Roku, still waiting for Roku to hit that 100. But Netflix, dude. Netflix is kind of holding on. Netflix, like inverses. Nike. The other day I was looking for Nike, Leaps, and DraftKings. But with DraftKings, I didn't pull the trigger because we had from here to this low. I had that fib to get through, and it could look right off that 0.618. But we're kind of bit back into it, so I'm gonna watch DraftKings again, because if it breaks this, on a weekly, if it breaks this level, it looks pretty decent. DraftKings up here. RKLB, I was kind of looking at too. CoreWeave was another one. CoreWeave. That broke out almost nothing. UPS, still nothing. But that's probably gonna be it for me tonight, guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Let this video play all the way out. Appreciate it.